We are all the heirs to Scotland, as a nation proudly stand. We will march beneath her banners to protect our ancient land. In the glens and cities, there on every street, are the living heroes no army will defeat. Let our flag mean freedom and not a battle drum. To the world we bid a welcome in 1,000 different ways. We will toast to long lost friendships as we build our better days. In the glens and cities, there on every street, are the living heroes no army will defeat. Let our flag mean freedom and not a battle drum. We are all the heroes of Scotland. We're a nation hand in hand. We will march beneath her banners to protect our ancient land. In the glens and cities, there on every street, are the living heroes no army will defeat. Let our flag mean freedom and not a battle drum.
Good evening, folks. I hope you're all well. Hope you're all safe. Hope you're all cozy and comfy. Tickety boo, says Steve. Well, I'm pleased to hear that, Steve. Oh, there's my old comrade in arms, Sensum. Good evening, sir. It's really, really nice to have your presence on the live stream, my friend. We went ahead, I decided to push on ahead, and we did the film review on the documentary that Samuel picked. So that when you become available again, we can, if you like, start afresh from where we stopped. But it's really nice to have your company. Now, I'm not trying to chase you away, but if you feel up to it, I can I can put the link in the chat and you can come on for a blether, but if you're not up to it, that's fine. So yeah, exactly. I keep forgetting this, Steve, you're quite right. Please hit the like button. Anyone who hasn't subscribed, please do so. But everyone who is here presently, I'm sure, is already subscribed. So I hope you're keeping well, Sensor, and all this inconvenient work hours is not messing around with you. Right, okay. On you come then, my friend. I'll get set up at this end. Right. I sense I'm going to come on. That's good. There you go, folks. There's the link. Rob D, that's a new name here. Special K. Oh, hello. A little while since I've seen you here, Special K. Nice to have your presence with us. Aye, aye. So, lots of long time not see names for a while, which is good. Nice to see you back. Always good to see folk come back. Ah, Budgie, I only came here for the violence. I only come here for the violence. Please don't disappoint me. Ah, crazy fool. Crazy fool. So I hope you all had a good week, or as good as it can be, wherever it is you are. Steve doing a Mr. T impersonation. I see. Here he comes. Good evening.
Hello, John. Hello, everybody in the chat. Hope everybody's well. Apologies for last week, mate.
No problem. No, family comes first. Come on, behave yourself.
Yeah, well, like I say, I got in touch with you at the weekend before saying, I'm off that day, which I was, in fairness, I was off. And then I get a message sort of Wednesday, because obviously, you know, kids of these days, there's nothing planned, is it? It just all happens randomly.
That's it.
And, you know, they were going to be turning up on Friday night. And so it was like, we where I am now is sort of like the centre point because we've got people in Scotland, people in Birmingham, and all over the place. So we've now become the centre point.
Good.
So he goes, "Oh, you're going out? Want to go out for some food?" And I said, "Oh yeah, that sounds nice." So we did, and
right.
Yeah, it was. I'm going to have to own up now because everybody asks. I mean, William, he just was streaming earlier, and he was saying, literally, because I finished work at where I passed for work. It would have been 7:45ish, I don't know, or 7:30ish, whatever time. And I noticed he was streaming, so I popped over to say hello. And literally, the first words out of his mouth, "What curry are you having tonight?" And believe it or not, this time last week I was tucking into a curry. I can't deny it.
You've got that reputation, my friend. That's it.
I know we've got the recipes, and I do a really nice one on Boxing Day. Got a legendary Boxing Day turkey from a recipe I got from a lad, like a Gujarati style recipe where it's rice based. It's everything's all in one pot, and it's like because it is a big. I do like a shull. We used to say do a shull of that curry. Means shovel. That's like short slang for shovel. So do a shull of curry. So I've got this big pot, and then it takes. I mean, luckily the turkey's already cooked, and because they always overbuy, because we like to get a turkey crown, and they get a double crown, and there's usually like at least 2/3 of it left over, and it all goes into this big curry pot. and then I spend the rest of the Boxing Day dropping it off for people. Yeah, I am a creature of habit, John. You know
that. Excellent. Sounds great. We have what we did this year because of illness. We postponed Christmas Day, so our turkey is still in my freezer, waiting to be cooked. We haven't got around to deciding what we're going to do, and way of presentation. So I need to do it soon, of course, before this Christmas catches up.
Yeah,
because it's lovely. Like we get it. I don't know where you get yours, but we get ours from Iceland. Frozen.
Did you get a full turkey or did you get a crown?
The crown.
Yeah,
brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant value for money.
The lad up the road, the butcher, we get ours from him. So, and it's really nice. You might pay a little bit more than Iceland, but
sure,
you always get good gear. And the skin, I don't know what it is or where I get it from, but you can, after you've cooked it, because I do it for ages in the oven, and then I leave the skin, because obviously because it's the crown, you can actually fold the skin back and you can carve the meat lovely, and then the skin makes its own sort of like keeps the moisture in. If you leave the skin, if you fold the skin back over, it keeps the meat lovely and moist. And I leave it like that. Put the tinfoil back over the top, but it keeps the meat lovely and moist. And then the following day, after I've chopped it all up, ready to go in the curry, the bit of skin that's left, believe it or not, and you're going to think this is terrible, but it's not. If you get a spoon and gently sort of scrape away any of the sort of the fat. I mean, chickens don't have a lot of fat anyway under the skin, but if there is any, it's under the skin. So if you gently scrape away any of the fat, put it on a salted baking tray and then sprinkle a bit of salt on the top. Put it back in the oven, fairly high heat, and let it crisp up. You get some of the most wonderful turkey scratchings, and it tastes fantastic. It's absolutely lovely. You know, people fight over it. Oh, what are you? You're not doing the turkey scratchings? Yeah, I am. And like, literally, it comes out. People burning their fingers. Oh. I said, you got to let it cool. It'll harden up proper when it cools down. No, let me have that end bit there. That's done.
Excellent. Well, you know you're on a winner when people are arguing over leftovers.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I mean, in fairness, when you think about it, because, I mean, if you have it on the, I mean, people usually say, oh, we fed up with the turkey by the second or third day, but everybody gets a good portion on the Christmas day, and because it's a crown, it doesn't dry up as much as a full-on turkey. Plus, I cook it alternatively, breast side down, then other side down, till it's all nicely done through. So it doesn't really, and shed loads of butter under the skin and everything, just to try and keep some form of moisture. And that sort of works. And Woodland knows a thing or two about turkeys. He's got I tell you, he's got a couple of turkeys in his, or he might even have more turkeys now. But the size of Great Danes, they're massive things. It's like some prehistoric bloody Thunderbird looking thing.
I remember a good while back, I'm sure it was him, he was walking about with a handheld or a telephone, showing us the birds. I mean, they're gigantic, like you say, you know.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, hell of a size.
Absolutely brilliant.
To go along with these, like, loads of dogs. However, you know, the problem, I mean, Woodlander doesn't see it because, you know, he hasn't noticed like what I do, because I have a very suspicious mind, you see. And one thing I've noticed, he's dropped a few pictures, and he's got this white cat. I don't know what the cat's called. I don't know what the cat's called for real, but I call it Blofeld the cat. Because the number of times you'll see like the dogs sat around the table and you've got Blofeld at the head of the table, sort of laying down the law to the dogs, like, you know, these humans here, this is what we need to be doing next, you see. So Blofeld's mission is to overthrow the Woodlander. Probably got a hidden telephone, you know, mobile phone. He's calling Dane Keir Starmer on to grass the Woodlander up, you know, for his right-wing onions and
onions that roll in the right way. Oh, I tell you. Poor man's peacock, says Woodlander.
That used to be one of the, you know, a prize dish of the Maharajas, wasn't it, peacock?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm thinking of introducing
enough. Where I used to live before I moved into this place here, they actually had, you know, a dozen or so wild peacocks just roaming around, and they think it was because there was a stately home. I think it's now part of the agricultural college.
All right.
And they reckon that when the stately home was there, they had peacocks, because it was a, you know, we're posh because we've got peacocks, and there's still like a procession of them flocking around every, like, you used to see them literally every day, and they were quite tame.
It used to be very fashionable.
Yeah.
And you weren't someone unless you had the old peacocks on the estate.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I used to start just because I used to enjoy a tab then. So I'd be stood there having a rollie, and often the times you'd be just stood at the door, and a big procession of the buggers would come walking over, and the mama's son or the papa's son, because he was in his full regalia, he'd sort of look round and give you the look, and you'd give him the look, and then he'd sort of look behind him, and then he'd carry on walking, and that was a signal to the other ones, yeah, this one's all right here. So then they'd all go past.
Excellent. So how you been keeping in general?
Yeah, I've been okay. I mean, knees have been on fire, but that's like an old problem. It's it's one of those things. I don't think I'll ever get rid of it, and the doctor's not interested in it, so sod them. I've got. Well, they know about it. Put it that way. They've got the report, shall we say?
Yeah.
I just haven't heard back what they're going to do about it. Because all I get from them is, "Oh, it's because you're a fat bastard." And I goes, "Yes, doctor, I know. What do you reckon I should do then?" "Well, eat less." Okay. Yeah, I'm listening. "Drink less." "Oh, yeah. Okay.
It took 4 years of university to get to that.
And do some exercise. You know what, doctor? I couldn't agree more. Now, this exercise bit, when I try and do any of that, like what I used to do, which is what knobbed me up the last time around, was I got shanghaied into having a go with this like tennis game thing.
Oh.
And I played it and I enjoyed it. And then I couldn't walk. I literally couldn't walk for like a week. I was in absolute ribbons.
I'll bet.
So I told them, and obviously.
Was this grass you were playing on? Were you playing on grass?
No, it was actually an indoor thing.
Oh, right. Okay.
But it was okay at the time. It was just the following day I was in ribbons. And, yeah, so ring them up and receptionist, how can I help you? Could I please make an appointment for the doctor? Why, what's wrong? Oh, I hadn't realised you passed your medical degree, but yeah, my legs are, my knees are buggered, both of them. Terrible. Okay, so that was it. And 3 weeks.
That was the end of that.
Well, they gave me an appointment, but it was for 3 weeks later.
Right.
And I walk in there, seeing what. Said, "Oh, so what's the problem? Legs are buggered." "Right, okay, then. Well, you seem to be walking okay now." "Oh, thanks. Cheers. Thanks for that, doc. Would you like some horrible grey elephant tablet painkillers?" "No, actually, I wouldn't, doctor. I would just like to get to the bottom of it. What is it? Is it arthritis? Is it mechanical?"
Sure.
You're quite a heavy person, aren't you?" "Yes, doctor, I am. I've always been, well, in recent times, always been like this. Since before the sniffle, put paid to all kinds of activities and shit like that, which you instigated, and now we know it's all bullshit. But we'll just skirt over that for now."
Yeah.
Now there's something not right. It locks up all the time, and I can't. Once it locks, it literally locks solid, and I can't move it. It's like it's as though somebody's put a steel bolt, not quite straight-legged, between the bottom half of the leg and the lower half of the leg, and it could be minutes, it could be hours, it could be days, and then eventually it'll sort of worm its way loose, and then it'll be okay again. But as soon as I do anything else, of any kind of impact nature or anything like that, the problem is you just don't know when it's going to happen.
Right.
When it does happen, it's like hell on earth, and yeah, like I say, they just as far as I can see, the health, the NHS is basically, can you please continue to pay eye-watering sums into the national insurance pot, but getting nothing for it, please, because we need to spend that on lots of other people who are coming into the country quite recently, shall we say?
Yeah, exactly. Well, my son's at the moment. My son's lying in his bedroom with his light out. His mouth is throbbing with bad toothache, and he can't get a dentist. They're not taking anyone on.
Well, this is, it's ridiculous, though, isn't it? What he needs to do is he needs to get himself to Calais
Yeah.
Go on a boat, lose all his documentation, come in, tell him he can't speak English, but go, and point in his mouth.
Yeah.
He'll have bloody Katie Price, white, beautiful teeth within 5 minutes, all paid for, all done and dusted. They're
Yeah,
probably
I
even
know.
offering him a house while he's down there as well.
I would be at all surprised. It's awful. It's just getting worse.
Oh, but we have to stop. We have to stop with the anti-establishment rhetoric, because that can get you into
Oh,
bother.
yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right. You speak
If
like
you,
that now.
that was an actual BBC story, you know. And there was a chap who actually has been sent down. And one of the things that the judge quoted was, he hadn't done anything illegal or anything wrong, but obviously they're doing the big crackdown. And one of the citations that the good made, and anti-establishment rhetoric. And it's like, right, so if you don't agree with the hellscape that the current regime, which I call the uni party, that it's all the regime, if you're not happy with the fact that irrespective of what you tell politicians, what you tell everybody and what you vote for, you're just going to continually ignore us. And then when we say, but this is not right and we'd like to change it, please, you know, they say, oh, well, we'll lock you up instead. We're not interested in, you know, the real cause of the problem. We'd rather lock the people who are pointing out what the real cause of the problem is.
Yeah, that's because they are the problem. Right, Treble M,
Exactly.
I'll look into that on his behalf. Thanks for that info.
Yeah.
Dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. So, I had you at the factory then, just getting progressively darker in the caves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thing is, where I am at the moment, since I'm really never out. I can't walk very far, and there is nowhere to walk to unless you like going to the pub, and I don't like going to the pub that much, and I don't have anybody to go with anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Well, like I say, it's the sniffle, you know, all of that escapade for that 2 years. I think it's put a massive dent in all forms of socialising. In fairness, across the boards.
yeah, and it's put a huge, huge is not the right word, enormous dent in public health. Without a doubt. Huge dent in public health. And that instantly created a backlog, which we're going to live with forever.
Well, yeah, they'll never ever clear it down, because
No
they're
intention.
importing 250,000, you know, a city the size of Birmingham into the country net every year with no sign of stopping. So, you know, we can't magic up enough hospitals to cope with that every year. We can't magic up enough doctors. You know, they import them, which we should never have done in the first place. And then they say, oh, you know, without all of these people coming in, the NHS service would collapse. No, it's because of all these people coming in that the NHS services collapse.
Absolutely.
If growth in a country was organic, then the powers that be would ensure that as that growth took place, the facilities and services would grow organically to meet it. So,
correct. And we spoke about this long and hard.
yeah,
We've got politics on this.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
I just get very, very angry when I see the waste of our talent, our natural talent among young folk being squandered, just absolutely squandered. It's outrageous. And it's only, of course I'm forgetting, you're younger than me. But in my lifetime, uh, in this town, growing up as a teenager, a young teenager, that's all you saw was young girls with their trainee nurses uniform on because they had a college here and the girls were trained here. All going, all squandered away. Disgraceful. Disgraceful.
Yeah,
And it's false economy, this idea of bringing people in is cheaper. It's just false economy.
yeah, yeah. Like I say, they'll never, they'll never be held to account for what they did to us. I mean, that much is clear, isn't it? I mean, you've got Fauci in the United States, you've got the likes of Hancock, etc. Over here in the United Kingdom, you've got all the heads of the relative big pharma companies. None of them be held to account. These so-called inquiries and reports and whatnot that are designed to do nothing more than to procrastinate any kind of judgment until most of the people responsible are out of the picture anyway. So
Yep, that's what I've watched happen my entire life since
yeah.
I can honestly say, folks, and I believe, the oldest person here. Nothing has changed in my entire life. It's only become worse,
Yeah,
much worse.
yeah. I actually said that before. I said if depending on how old you are, and this was in the lead up to the this year's general election, and I said people just before you vote for um, the main parties, as it were, just think back. We've had Tory for the majority of that from. If I was just saying, if you go back to 1991, even the major era, even going back to that. Yeah, so 30 years, but you could go further back if you wanted to. But let's just go back 30 years. If you were of voting age back in 1991, was 2001 better or worse than 1991? Oh Jesus, who's this here now? Sorry, John.
That's
No, off. Right. um, yeah. So was 2011 better or worse than 2001? Was 2021 better or worse than 2011? And every single time, people say, you know, every time people sort of look back, then they can say, well, hold on a minute. Yeah, Steve's right. It might be that. So I will see what it is in a moment, but not now. Ignorant bugger. How dare he not have Jedi mind tricks to know when I'm speaking to somebody? But I said to to these people, just in the general sort of statement, it was a rhetorical question.
Sure.
So if after every election cycle things get worse, it doesn't matter if it's Labour, Conservatives, or a coalition of some form that's in power, isn't that screaming to you that it doesn't matter who you vote for in those circles? Nothing will change because you're voting for the same shit. It doesn't matter if you switch one election cycle to Labour and then one to the Tories, you're still voting for the same shit.
Absolutely.
And I thought, in fairness, and in fairness, the Reform Party is, well, when Nigel Farage stuck his head once again above the parapet, that's when that gained momentum. They're not our guys either. And I just, prior to that, and I was saying, do something extra. There was quite a few people of note. You may have seen his little monologues on YouTube, a fellow called Jeff Taylor. he actually ran as a UKIP representative from North Dorset. So they were starting to get, the brunt of the dinghy diver stuff going on. So it's not as though it's not escaped those. Our good friend Steve Laws was running again. Who else was running? And what's his called? Andrew, the Leicester North guy, Andrew Bridget, former Tory minister, who was the one who was ostracised for pointing, certain damage that may be happening because of a certain medical intervention, shall we say. Andrew Bridgen was a well-loved and well-respected MP in Leicestershire. Now, in his area there, he had a massive victory in a big, massive majority in 2019. He served his community as well as any MP in that treacherous hive of den of iniquity in Westminster. And when the results came out, that was the most disheartening one, if I'm being honest, because I genuinely thought that running as an independent Andrew Bridgen stood a legitimate chance of maybe not winning, but certainly being very close. And the result was something like, a landslide for Labour, Tories like 8,000 votes, and Andrew Bridgen just 1,000 votes. And yet he'd served that community and the country, a hell of a lot better than any other MP, and yet people are so bloody idiotic.
But is that a true, real result there, Sensible, or is that a swindle?
Well, no, it was probably real, but like I say, I mean, North Leicester's it's not as multicultural, shall we say?
No, of course.
Or strengthified, diversity is as strengthified as other parts of Leicester, which we know has fallen. But that I mean, Jeff Taylor, he's got well over 100,000 subs on YouTube. And when he was going around campaigning in Dorset, and he was just, like talking to people, and what do you think? It's disgraceful, Jeff. Blah 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 blah. He got about 100 votes or something silly. Out of the tens of thousands that could have voted, he got 100 votes, and yet everybody he was speaking to in the street, and he wasn't cherry picking them. He was just saying, "What do you think on this?" "Oh, I'll probably vote Labour because the Tories are crap." "What do you think there?" "No." And then he like said, "Well, why didn't you vote for something different?" "Oh, yeah, I could do that." But they don't because they're all idiots. And that's the thing that disheartened me. It disheartened me because I just thought, you've got Steve Laws, a bloke I've spoken to a few times, a really, really thoroughly decent and honest individual who just literally shows truth to power, points out what's going on.
Yeah.
It was Steve Laws doing what he did in his citizen journalism, actually going out on a fishing boat and filming these dinghy divers, that then all of a sudden, Sunshine and Roses Farage decided he was going to go out on his royal yacht or whatever it was. That wasn't a royal, but he was going to do the same thing. But it literally was, poaching the stuff that Steve Laws had been doing for months. We've got our friend John Lawrence of the National Housing Party UK.
Sure.
Now, I don't know if they fielded any candidates or whatever. We've got the Homeland Party now, which has been recognised as an official party, and they were standing candidates. I think they might have even got a councillor in somewhere now, which is not bad in fairness. But it's like
better than not having a councillor, put it that way.
Because of a combination of media propaganda and dishonest reporting, and dishonest pigeonholing people, publications like Hopeless Hate, which just do hit pieces on people. I mean, Simon, the Woodlander in the chat now, you won't meet a more honest and decent bloke trying to do some good, just in general, just trying to do some good. Let's buy some land because they're not making any more of it. Yeah. Just doing some form of good. Oh no, he's a far right extreme. I mean, Lawrence Fox, for God's sake, was in Oak Not 8's State of Hate. I mean, Lawrence Fox is the most milquetoast buggy you'll ever meet. And I was just looking at these things. So it was like Lawrence Fox, bloody Sargon of Akkad, Yeah, but the thing is, Simon, Jeff Taylor has got a fairly decent reach, but more importantly, Andrew Bridgen, he's never been out of the press, and also saying, the stuff to wind up the regime, and yet the people still didn't see through it. They still went with the no, I'll vote the Tories, no, I'll vote Labour, because, like I say, the whole point of this one around was 0 seats for the Tories, because we had to try our best to try and destroy at least one of the uniparties, because if both are still there, even if it's an imbalance of power, then what will happen is, as we've seen already, Dame Keir Starmer is probably one of the most hated people in the country right now because of his draconian measures against people speaking truth to power. So it could, everybody's saying, oh, it's such a massive landslide. And then it could landslide back to the Tories. If Bojo the Clown decides he might come back for another term, which wouldn't be beyond the realm of possibilities. The Tories get another landslide, and what will change? Nothing. Nothing will change. It'll be just as bad. No, it'll be worse. Because this election cycle is going to be a lot worse than the 2019 election cycle, even though we had to deal with all the crap that came out of the 2020 to 2022. And then in 2025, or whenever the election's called, if it swings again to the Tories, it's going to be even worse than this one, because in 2025 to 2030, you're going to start pushing all of the green agenda again, the 2030 plans and all this stuff. So you can't avoid how terrible this corrupt and, maggot-strewn administration is, because they literally, they can't help themselves by being rubbish. So,
Cecil, could I ask you to have a listen to your microphone? It's going a bit crazy now and then. And then
mine?
Yeah, yours. And then it clears up again.
I don't know. Has anybody else heard that? I'm sorry if it's mine.
No, other people have mentioned it.
Oh, right. Okay.
I was just waiting for the opportunity to break in.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
See, it's fine right now.
Maybe it's because it's got this. I mean, the problem is with StreamYard, every time you log into StreamYard, it seems to have a whole host of new features that tend to. Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought I'd draw it to your attention. Sorry to break into your flow of thought.
No, not at all. I've pretty much finished the point. But what I'm saying is, even when you get somebody of the media personality, or sorry, not media personality, but in recent times, not just like 5 years ago, but in literally right up until the election was called, Andrew Bridgen was pretty much on the lips of all media establishments, even the ones that are so-called supposed to be on our side, such as GB News, and they're not. Some of the larger YouTube channels, etc., have him on as well. Neil Oliver, I think, spoke to him. So it was quite quite a significant reach that he had, and yet he was only good enough to elicit 1,000 votes from his own constituency that he'd served, faithfully for that amount of time. Terrible.
Well, never forget that when the Liberals and the Tories got together to form a coalition, at that same point in time, the electoral office department was sold into private hands and is no longer part of government officialdom. And I maintain, although there's no way I can prove it, that that's where the jiggery pokery really started. along with what do you call it, postal votes. I
Yeah,
think postal votes have ushered in a whole era of scams. I really do.
and
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 I'm
I think
sorry.
one of the reasons why they are, especially in the United States, why they're trying to ramp up more hysteria with regards to new forms of viruses hitting the country is because they are literally trying to angle to get as many postal votes in the United States as
Yep.
possible
Yep.
because they are the easiest ones to nobble, shall we say? Not
Yeah.
saying that they will, but those are definitely the easiest one to nobble. Just like the graph that it showed you in real time, where it was like red line, high, massive, high above the blue line, and then all of a sudden a straight line straight up, where these mysterious votes just suddenly appeared, and it's like, come on. Come on, it's like everybody knew. I'll tell you what I'll do, John. I'll leave the studio. I'll find out what's going on with that, and then I'll rejoin, see if that helps with the microphone.
Well, at the moment it's okay, but on you go then. See what
Okay,
see what they want you on the phone for.
I'll just drop out and then come back in, and hopefully that'll stay.
Okay, doc. No problem. Anyway, that's my thoughts about it, and to be honest, uh, so in a sense, I'm now speaking directly to party members. I'm beginning to think that the party strategy should be this. Outside of local elections, I think we should concentrate our efforts on building alongside and with the Woodland Initiative and get as much land as quickly as possible. Because it strikes me, folks, that to pay £5,000 for any one of us to stand in a general election at this point, where we don't have the organisation, nor do we have the money to have a decent go at winning, is really just throwing £5,000 away. And that's 5,000 plus propaganda material. Yeah, Budgie, I know you're quoting George Carlin. It's a big club and we're not in it, that's for sure. So what I'm thinking we should do is that. I'm saying that, and I haven't consulted any party members. So I'm taking a kind of dictatorial viewpoint on this. But I would rather see us not spend our money and put that money, when it becomes a decent amount, into the buying of land. Whereas in Scotland, I don't know about England, maybe one of you folk can tell us. Do you have to pay in England to stand for local elections? Up here in Scotland, you don't. So in that sense, I think the People's Party, I think the three parties that we have, need to get together, and we need to stand for elections in Scotland if there's a charge in England. If there is not a charge in England, then I think the three parties need to work together and stand for local elections. And this party, the People's Party, once I've consulted the membership, I'm prepared to use party funds, leave them aside until we get a decent amount of money. And obviously I'd be speaking to Woodlander about all of this, so that we can then come in with whatever funds we've got and help the whole process of getting land just that wee bit quicker. I'll speak to... Yeah, well, that's the point, Woodlander. The whole idea is to keep the party going. If the other two parties can agree, then we can come together for elections in Scotland and England and perhaps even Ireland, and we might get somewhere. But I think at this point, really I do, it breaks my heart to say it, but we haven't got the funds to be throwing £5,000 plus away on a general election. So that's my thinking at the moment. But I thought, consider I was on my own up here, no help, very little cash, as you know, and I didn't come in last. I actually beat Alba, which is not bad, considered. Well, that's the point, Woodlander. I agree with you up to a point. I still think if we're organised with the right local policies, we can win seats on councils, and that's important. If we can do that, it gives us a public persona. Ah, there he's back. How are you doing?
Hello, John.
Yeah.
There was a load of settings on there like echo cancellation and mute background noise and auto adjust mic volume. So I've turned all of those off and see.
You sound great. It sounds fine.
Right. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I've turned off all of these great features that these new and improved features that make things worse and terrible.
Ether elephant. I was just saying to the audience here, because you wouldn't hear it. This is my present day thinking, and as a party member, it would be good to get your input. So this is the way I'm thinking these days. It was because people in the party and people not in the party were offering to donate money to have me stand for the general election, okay? Which I totally poo-pooed. Why? Because I didn't think I had much of a chance of getting elected. And that's my present thinking. I don't think I've got much of a chance of being elected in a general election. I don't think any of our party members have got any chance of being elected. Nor do I think Kerry's party's got any chance, nor John Lawrence's. Now, I could be totally wrong here. So the way I'm looking at it, Sensor, That's a waste of £5,000 plus. And I say plus because you got to put out propaganda. So what I would rather do with our funds is not spend that money. I put it aside. And when it gets to a certain amount of cash, then we would then present that as part and parcel of the woodland initiative and help buy the land. I think that
Yeah.
would be a wiser thing to do with our
I think
party money.
it would be a better investment in the long run, if I'm being honest. I think that I think that new and emerging parties, and you could say that about reform, but reform is basically, the old guard of controlled opposition, shall we say?
Plus, they've
the
got money
gatekeepers.
there,
Yeah.
said so.
I would say that if those parties wanted to have an impact, it's going to have to be at the local level, because as we've seen, even with somebody with national recognition like Andrew Bridgen, that was the most startling one to me. That is when my faith in my faith in democracy has been non-existent for years now, but especially so in the aftermath of the Brexit vote, which just basically showed all of the traitors in Westminster for the true colours that they were.
Absolutely.
So I was like I say, I kept an eye on certain candidates. Andrew Bridgen being one, Jeff Taylor, our good friend Steve Laws. I don't think National Housing Party were running a candidate. But those were the ones that stuck out to me. And I think, once again, okay, Steve Laws probably isn't as big a name because obviously all the stuff he does gets suppressed. But he's been there and done that before in other campaigns. I mean, I think he was a UKIP candidate one time around, probably in the 2019 election. And in the 2019 election, I think the Tories romped it, and Labour comes second, and third. The thing that came in third in that particular election was the spoiled ballot. The purposely spoiled ballots to the protest vote of, we don't want any of you because you're dreadful, which is true. So I thought, because Steve did do a good amount of campaigning, going like yourself, John, when you did yours for the Green at council, went walking around talking to people. People were generally receptive.
Yep.
And the vote itself is, when
and
they
we
talk
didn't
about
come
things,
in last.
Yeah.
Said so. I didn't come in last.
No. But
And that was me totally on my own.
Yeah. And it was well, like I say, it's in a vote, in the vote system that we've got. If you do it in person, in other words, you go to the ballot box and you cast your vote, it is, for all intents and purposes, a blind ballot. So you can vote for wherever you want. It's a blind ballot. So, people being interviewed on the way in and people being interviewed on the way out, like exit polls and whatever, it could be on a vote on anything. And I mean, it was the exit polls that did for that sort of Stato bloke, wasn't it, who said, oh yeah, it's a resounding victory for Remain. And it wasn't. And the problem with that was that he was going by the exit poll results. And so you've got a boatload of blue-haired, nose-ringed, sweaty vegan types stood hanging around the doors. And you've got these exit pollsters there going, do you manifest which way you voted? Yeah, I voted Remain. Good answer. And then they walk off. The reality is they voted to leave, but that was their reveal preference. The reveal preference was they wanted to leave and probably had a bee in their bonnet about immigration. Because let's face it, let's not cut the mustard. The EU referendum was an immigration referendum. It literally was. That's how it was seen, and that's how it was taken. So there you see once again that people's revealed preference was, yeah, we want to leave the EU, and the majority of that, was because we don't want any more immigration. And so
Correct.
what did all of the parties do, both Tory and Labour? Make things as uncomfortable and as procrastinated as possible, so that we got the absolute worst deal out of Brexit. We got even more non-EU immigration, everything that nobody wanted, and then Boris comes in 2019 and saying, we'll get the Brexit we've done that we want, we'll do this and we'll do that. So he gets his mandate, and then he puts a border up the he puts a border up the Irish Sea. It's like, hold on a minute, you can't do that. I mean, that was like literally 2 fingers to our brothers in Northern Ireland.
Exactly.
It's like, it's all because, oh, well, we can't have a hard border in Northern Ireland. We don't have to. That's all bullshit. You don't have to have a hard border. This is all kayfabe for the regime thing. And Boris folded like a bloody tea towel and goes, oh, I've got this cracked. What's that then? Put a border up the eye. I mean, come on. I've never heard anything so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now Dame Keir is trying to align himself even more closely with EU policies and everything. And, what will be the olive branch to the EU? Well, probably that all of the EU can come back and start poaching our fishing grounds again, which was one of the big talking points of, get Brexit and give the fishing rights back to our fishermen.
Get the fishing industry back on its feet.
Yeah, and it's just, once again, for me, and this has been more apparent now, and the most disappointing result, as I've mentioned several times now, was the Andrew Bridgen one. And that to me just tells me that the British public at large are a lot like the cat, where you've got a torch and you shine the torch on the floor and the cat will bounce over to where the torchlight is and it goes off, and then you shine the torchlight on a different part of the floor and it'll bounce and start, not realising the fact that it doesn't need to be looking at the light, it needs to be looking at the person holding the light.
Yeah. Course.
And jump up and bite their hand, that's what that's what
bite his hand off. More like. Yeah. Well, you see, the way I figure it is, when I stood, everything I was standing on.
Look at Anglo's comment, John. Anglo's comment. I did.
You flirted with voting Labour.
And I've been proven right, because what we've actually gotten is dreadful. And this is, if you're an accelerationist, what's happening now, apart from the tyranny that's being exacted on people who dare say anything against the state, the anti-establishment rhetoric will get you put in prison.
Sure.
This is a boon. And, sorry to interrupt your point, but one thing that I do feel, I can't say I see it or hear it, but I feel it. I feel it in my bones. A lot more of the normal people are seeing what's going on, and they're thinking to themselves, yeah, I'm not going to put my head above the parapet, because, I'm not going to go at these little demonstrations and whatnot. I think there's a bigger one planned. I don't know if it's this weekend or the weekend following, but I'm not going to these demonstrations and all this lot, but I'm thoroughly and utterly hacked off with what this government is doing, and that's breeding a palpable resentment across the boards. So outside of your metrosexual set in London and Islington, the Islington set, and obviously the foreigners who have no right to be here, ordinary Joe public, the non-woke majority, I think I can honestly say that most of them who are seeing between the lines and seeing what's happening to ordinary people being locked up for,
nothing,
2-year custodial sentences, when on the same day people with category 1, 2 and 3 kiddie images, shall we say, are getting 2 years sentences but suspended. So in other words, they're not putting them in prison; they're put on remand. They're out on release. Do you know what I mean? It's like oh, it's absolutely disgusting. But if you say, who would you like out in the wider public? Somebody who said you police are doing or two-tier policing, right? Bush up the head and straight into prison, or a diddler with boatloads of images on his computer. Who would you like back in open society? Well, the bloke who calls out the police or calls out the system.
Of course.
Because they're not a direct threat to anybody or anything other than the rhetoric, the anti-establishment, the rhetoric of the system. So they fear that far more because they know if they get lots of people with those same attitudes, their power crumbles.
Yeah.
So I think that, from an accelerationist point of view, what's happening now, they're probably rubbing their hands, but I can just sense it just by ordinary people mentioning things.
Yeah.
Oh, and did you see this and did you see that? It's wrong because, when they were talking about the Southport incident, it's wrong because, and then they say the things we've been saying for all along, like, they want to excuse the terrible act that took place.
Yeah.
And yet they want to demonise people who point out what that act was. Now, I don't agree with the, the burning of police cars and the ransacking of places, but I would say, once again, I just feel it, as Steve says, I feel it in my fingers, once again, that when Mither like that kicks off, there's some form of agent provocateur, incendiary placed in those situations to inflame the situation beyond. And then as soon as it kicks off, they take a few steps backwards and disappear into the ether.
Oh, absolutely.
So I would say to anybody who goes to, like I say, I wouldn't recommend going to any kind of impromptu meetups or wherever where there might only be, a few dozen to a couple of hundred max, which can be controlled. You want to be getting yourself involved in one of these 100,000 marches down in London or wherever. Be stoically peaceful,
Yeah.
Tell the police that you don't consent. Tell the government you don't consent to all of this crap.
Yeah.
And the final thing I'll say on this one, once again, is immediately after the incident in Southport, and then obviously which the press loved, the media loved, and the government loved, the fact that it was a misnamed, the person responsible was misnamed and mistagged. It wasn't that person. But that became the story.
Yes.
It wasn't the main story. That became the story.
Yeah.
But immediately after that, you've got the likes of an Yvette Cooper and the likes of an Angela Rayner and the likes of a Dame Keir Starmer all coming out and basically saying, we will protect our communities. We haven't got a community, so we all know who they're talking about. They're not talking about us, are they? Because we're not allowed to have a community because that needs to be stamped out. Because if we ever collectivised, they'd be shitting themselves, basically.
That's for sure.
But instead of allowing these disingenuous people in power to say, well, this is ridiculous because they're not all bad, yeah, that's a fact. That's an absolute 100% bona fide statement. They are not, they're not all bad. However, I don't want them to be able to get away with that, and therefore, if anybody in earshot says, oh, well, they're not all bad, just ask them this question and say to them, okay, then, that's granted. Well, how many people should be attacked and, have their lives ended, blah, 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 by foreigners, whether it's, newcomers coming into the country now or whether it's a generation ago? I don't care. How many of our people should be sacrificed on the altar of multiculturalism to prove that your diversity is actually a strength, which is an oxymoron, because any word that starts with the same etymology as division cannot be a strength. Division isn't a strength. Division is great for the regime, because the
Of
more
course.
divided a society, the easier it can be controlled by
Absolutely.
basically getting one faction of society to square off against the other.
Of course.
The
Very
trick is to
simple.
make sure that those factions that you're setting off against one another don't look back over the shoulder and look to see who is shaking the ant josh, so to speak.
Sure.
That's the thing that
Absolutely.
they fear most, because if overnight everybody decided, hold on a minute, who are you? Well, I'm just Mr. ABC down in London here, right? So you must be like all wealthy and all. No, I'm not wealthy at all. Well, you must be all for. No, I'm not. Well, then you and I have far more in common than what we do with those idiots in power. So why are we not taking it out on those buggers? Do you see what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I go back to what I found out, as you say, simply by walking the streets, and that was people are not prepared to become too involved in what we would call national politics. What they're interested in is local problems. And that's why I concentrated on local problems, nuts and bolts politics, not very glamorous, etc., etc. But the point is, at that level, we, each of these three individual parties, working separately and together, have got a real opportunity of getting at least one person on a council, perhaps more. And that's where we need to start. I've always said this. Rather than wasting thousands of pounds, okay, if I had stood in the general election, of course I'd have got a bit of publicity. I know that. But that publicity is tomorrow night's fish and chips wrapping. It's gone. Whereas getting someone on the local council lasts, it's solid, and you can build on it. And you can influence other people there. Now, I've got people in this town that I would go forward to if I was confident that the party agreed that we should concentrate our funds on very, very specific items, such as the good publicity we always get with the wreath at Memorial Day. We always get a great publicity on that. Unfortunately, I've ran into problems with the chess tournament. But for the most part, the money that we take in should be left aside and used to help get the land that we so badly need. I think if I send letters out, I think the party membership will probably go along with me on this.
And that land, it's the thing is, what the likes of the propaganda mongers and the fear mongers would like to do, the likes of Hopeless Hate and all them lot would like to do, would be to try and market the Woodlander Initiative as some kind of bloody cult thing or something, and it's not. It's just a bit of land where people can go if they want to currently, because we have got building permission to do on stuff on there. I'm certain that's right. But this summer there's been a few people just gone out there to camp and they've thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's
Exactly.
not like we've gone out there to camp and let's grow some bloody far right onions and a few fascist carrots and anti-trans runner beans. It was literally just, no, isn't this wonderful? Just that being out in nature. And just being able to have an adult conversation without being constrained by the wrong think consortium over your shoulder all the time. Because we get enough of we get enough of that all the time at work and curtain twitches.
Just to
And
go out there and
yeah,
shout to the open air,
yeah, yeah,
just to let off steam is as simple as that.
yeah.
It's worth its weight in gold alone.
And
But
it's not like that you get people in there fed posting and, doing kind of slurs or stupid things. Because I'm certain, once again, when other parties have done their little out in the backwoods thing, there's always an over idiot that just happens to be caught on camera, doesn't there? You
oh
know,
yeah,
they're not real people, because first of all, ordinary people who are concerned about what's going on in the country wouldn't say or do that anyway. A, because it probably isn't in their nature, and B, even if it was in their nature, they know to mind their P's and Q's, because they know these kind of things happen. So whenever you see this kind of crap, and when you see Channel 4 dispatches and all this other nonsense, and you see somebody, well, just look at during the election with the Reform candidate going down in London and down in was it Southend-on-Sea, which is Nigel Farage's constituency. This fella turns up in a suit, shakes Farage's hands, and comes across as this Cockney wide boy. Well, if I was in power, I'd do this. And Farage said, yeah, I got a bit of a wrong feeling off him straight away. Next thing he's on camera saying, me, what I would do is I'd have the guns lined up all along the Kent coastline and blah, 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 blah. And then the next, and this is world news. Oh, Reform candidates advocating for this. Woo, all this stuff. And the reality was, he was an actor. He was a paid actor. Actually, he'd worked for the likes of the BBC and Channel 4 and that before. It's like, you can't make this shit up. It's like, it's so transparent.
yeah.
And once again, it just disappears. It's just... And this is why I 100% agree with you that I think that the only way that we can get any kind of credence is just to build local communities. And that's going to be easier in some locations and more difficult in others, because some locations are already lost to liberalism, and they are the worst kinds, because they are the kinds who are all for the current thing, but they wouldn't be if it was actually landing on their doorstep.
Yeah, of course.
So, all these people who live in the sort of beautiful cottages and little quaint villages in the Cotswolds and everything, who are as far removed from the hellscape of inner city London, they can't understand or appreciate, and their mindset is, oh well, of course I want to do the right thing for everybody in the world ever. And they never see the bad. They never ever see, because they're not in the circles, they're not in the know. They get spoon-fed the propaganda from the likes of the BBC, ITV, Sly News, even GB News. GB News is not our guys.
No, of course not.
So they get all this crap, and they're saying like, oh well, we've got to do this and we've got to do that, and then in the next breath, they talk about there'll be a migrant camp being built in, wonderful village Cotswold.com, and they say, oh, we don't want them here. So it's all right for everybody else in the country to have to suffer that shit, but not me. It's called NIMBYism, isn't it? Not in my backyard. Well, they are the worst types.
Oh yeah,
they are the worst types.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
they literally cannot appreciate, what they're advocating for. Because if they did, they'd be the first people to vote against it.
Exactly.
These are what is it called? The crocodile eats me last types.
Yeah. But that's part of the problem, as you rightly say. What I found was that I didn't come across very many people like that, because I stayed out of the area that they're in.
Yeah.
Although some people, if I took you, or if you came to the town here, some people would argue that I live in that area. that has these people. Well, to a certain extent, that's true. But I'm not made that way anyway. And my roots are very working class and very humble in every sense of the words. So I know who I'm talking to. And I know that when I'm talking to them, I've got a good idea of how I should be speaking to them and what kind of things I should be saying to them. But I'll tell you this, I've already tried this out without mentioning it. This is the first time I've mentioned this publicly. Uh, but in the last couple of months, I have been trying it out. I'll say to people, well, we're not trying to stand for national elections. And then I'll say to them, do you realize how much that cost? It costs a lot of money. And we get our money from the party members. And we don't think we've got enough support yet to win one of these elections. So what we would rather do with our money, and this is what we are doing, says I take it that one bit further. I say what we are doing is the funds that we have and the funds that we gather are being put aside to buy land for our people. I swear to God, folks, I swear to God, this is true. See, when I say that, their eyes light up. They really light up. And suddenly they're interested. Well, what's that for? I says, essentially, it's a place, a safe place for people to go to take their wives and their kiddies, if they've got kiddies, older folk, they can go, they can do a bit of camping, they can go for the day, brew up tea and what have you. And I just sketched this out. It has an enormous impact when they realise that any money that we're taking in isn't being squandered on elections that we cannot possibly win. It's amazing. Try it. Try it, party members, or try it, people who are not even party members, and see the response you get. And I've got that kind of response from extended members of my family who are politically dead. They're not daft, they're just tuned out. And the minute I started down this route, they suddenly, their eyes light up and they've got attention. They're listening to me. They're taking it in and they're interested. And that's what encourages me. Now, that might only be here. It might only be me. We don't know that. But it's easy to find out. So that's why I'm plugging this idea. And what have we got to lose, Sensor?
No, I once again, though, I think that like yourself, John Lawrence, other sort of local activists, probably even the likes of a Jeff Taylor, they should aim for local. Whatever, if their council's a parish council or their local council or even their county council, even depending on how it gets voted for, they should follow the same line and say, look, you, to the ordinary people in those local areas, because just look at I think it was something like the turnout was like 35% of the voting, the people who were able to vote. Try to streaky.
Thanks very much, Streaky. You'd have to bribe me.
Yeah, you know, you got to get them focused on, you know, what's going on in the local areas.
Yeah, yeah.
And when they speak to those people, and it come, you know, this is the thing, you know, but I can't explain it, and I know that you can't speak to everybody. You can only speak to a tiny majority. But when you've got somebody like Jeff Taylor, who's got, you know, I don't even know what he's on now, but he was well over 100,000 subscribers. And that's just on YouTube, because I'm not on Facebook or Twitter or anything like that, so I don't know. But you know, he's the type of person who could drum up local support and be focused on local issues, and to the great pleasure of the council, whether that be parish or otherwise, you know, just be a constant thorn in the side of all of the, you know, party-based
Yep.
Council members.
Yep.
Just literally be a constant thorn in their side. I actually relish. I like good people, and I will help good people as much as I can. But if I ever encounter an arsehole, yeah, in the real sense, nothing gives me greater pleasure than to constantly sort of put them under the microscope. You know, because
they deserve it.
Well, it's not a question of deserving. It's a question of, you know, you're what you're saying there is bang out of order in a lot of instances, and I've come across this many times in work and everything, yeah. And I won't do it in front of people publicly, but on a side note, I will say, by the way, that's outrageous what you've just said or done there. That wasn't called for, you know.
Sure.
And I've actually been, you know, higher ups have said, "Oh, by the way," and I goes, "Yeah, well, what do you think? Do you think I was right, or do you think I was wrong?" Yeah, well, that's not the question, though, is it? You know, he's your gaffer's gaffer, so you can't say that. And I'm like, I have an incalcitrant streak running through me. It's in my nature. I'm very sorry, but I cannot abide bullies, and I cannot abide people who are quite, you know, sparing with the truth, shall we say? So yeah, it is a bad trait. Well, I don't know. Is it a bad trait? I don't know.
Depends on where you exercise it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I try to be the most helpful person I can possibly be, especially at work and across all the different people I work with and that. But every now and again, and it's not even people who are, you know, they may be external, shall we say. So not customers, but they may be external suppliers, shall we say.
Yeah.
And I just, every now and again, I just take an instant dislike. Sometimes I take an instant like, and sometimes I take an instant dislike. And let's put it this way, my people barometer's usually pretty spot on. Yeah.
Well, that's what.
So as I've said recently, I've been working with some guys who are external to the company, and the vast majority of them have been great. You know, absolutely spot on. Couldn't fault them. And this is, you know, a wide range of countries, a wide range of demographics, absolutely spot on. And there have been a couple who've been absolute arseholes, and I'm just like, I'm keeping my powder dry, but you will come a cropper, sunshine, and when it does, I'm going to pile in on you because you deserve to be fucked over, John. I hope you don't mind me saying that.
No,
nasty pieces of work, yeah? So, anyway.
Well, this is what's needed, but in the right places.
Yeah.
These idiots and zombies who are so-called running the place need to be put together in a football stadium that isn't being used.
Yeah.
And machine gunned.
Well, all I would say, John, is it would be really, really nice because we know this happened. I don't know how small the councils need to be or how geographically important they need to be. But when we talk about sort of NGO interference, we only tend to think about it in big ticket items like the SNP got a donation from, or these Labour got donations from, these Conservative got donations from. But it goes a lot finer than that. There are a lot of NGOs in certain areas that've got massive influence over the local councils and trying to sway them to do certain things that they would it's not organic, John. You can see that the thumb's been on the scale.
Yeah.
Like Drag Queen Story Hour and all of the pushing the rainbow stuff, the pushing of the climate stuff. Thumbs are on scales, yeah? I mean, where I am now in Durham, they bought a shed load of these Lecky council vans and whatnot. They've got nowhere to charge them. So it's like they've or is it Durham? Well, somewhere very near vicinity anyway. It might be North Yorkshire, but certainly in the near vicinity. I don't want to get misquoted by the misinformation experts, but let's just say a council in this country have bought a shed load of electric vehicles that are now rusting away because they literally can't use them because they've got nowhere to charge them. And even if they could charge them, they wouldn't be able to do the job they were meant to do anyway because they haven't got the legs, they haven't got the long legs to do what they need them to do. So it was a PR exercise, but that PR exercise cost that particular council, something like £300,000.
Yeah, public money,
if not more. Yeah, and then they go, pleading poverty to the government, and what's the government response? Oh, well, if you've not got enough money, raise the council tax.
Yeah,
it's so
obscene.
Once again, yeah,
obscene. But we always, I think, sense someone when we talk about local politics. I think we always end up at the same doorstep of common sense, where there isn't any, where there needs to be. And that's where people like you and I would provide that common sense, as would our parties and party members.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why I think it's quite urgent that we all do our best to get our people in at the local level. Because one of the things you did forget to mention, and that's school boards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That should be part of the stuff that we're aiming for.
If you look at the number of local education authorities that have been inveigled by NGO propaganda as well, it's startling. It's startling. They phrase them as grants. So obviously there's money changing hands, and it's like, oh, we'll refit your library or whatever, but just stock it with all the LGBT XYZ nonsense books. Oh, thank you, Mr. NGO.
Yeah.
Because to them, the money that they will give to a local education authority is small fry, it's buttons. But the influence that it has on the generations to come is massive.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's irretrievable. It's irrecoverable. It's irrecoverable. What's the word? Irrecoverable. I don't know if that's a real word or not, but you can once those kids have been indoctrinated into a certain mindset,
very difficult.
It takes a hell of a lot to break them out of it, and a few do, but the vast majority don't.
Got a problem.
Yeah.
Got a problem, my friend. Got a problem. Right, Steve, if you're going off, you take care now.
Cheers, Steve.
Look after yourself and enjoy your weekend, whatever you do. And watch out for that boy of yours. He'll outfish you.
Yeah, that's not a sport I've ever... My lad loves it. That's not a sport I've ever enjoyed,
I've never tried it.
No, well, I haven't. Well, I went and sat with a rod in my hand once with a mate of mine. Oh, donkeys years ago when I was still down, when I was a teenager down in Stoke. He loved it. He was, oh, it's great. Sat there for hours, freezing cold, with a dog-eared, curly-toed cheese sandwich that my mum had made for us. A bottle of what was it called? Like wasn't roller cola. That's the Peter Kay thing, but something equivalent to that. And I was like, is that it? is that it? I'd rather be doing Doffers. that's the way I looked at it. Yeah, but I haven't said that. People have the same opinion with golf, but at least every couple of minutes or so you have a small amount of action.
Yeah, you're moving about.
Oh yeah, it's the lady. I forgot about that. Because of these shifts I'm on now. It's the ladies bloody the Ladies Open Championship up at St Andrews this week, so I might watch a bit of that tomorrow, actually. Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah.
Streaky
Yeah.
would like to come on for 10 minutes or so. What do
Yeah,
you
Streaky,
think?
get yourself on, mate, yeah. I like Streaky. You do know that Streaky's got a master's degree in male positivity.
Nope.
Did you know that? Yeah, oh yeah, he's a real regular agony aunt, Streaky. Streaky's, answer to everything is to chuck all of those idiot problems in the bin and do nationalism. That works for me, I tell you. So
Sounds good. Right, Streaky, there's the link.
look at this here. Look at Streaky and McDonald's shifts are killing sense. The absolute outrage, sir. I tell you what. Sometimes I wish I was flipping burgers, Hey, I tell you what, Mackie D's lads up the top end there, they're not on bad money, for what they do. Especially if you're a floor manager, not on. Don't sniff your nose. Tell you.
Don't know anything about their outfits.
There's a youth I know who does a bit of Amazon deliveries, and he's working literally 7 days a week, but he does however long he does on a Saturday and Sunday. It's not that far off what he's making in his regular job, but he's saving up for a house and that, so you can understand it. Do you know what I mean? But
sure,
don't wrinkle your nose, because I've seen all these people saying that they're, teachers or whatnot. Streaky me ode. Don't wrinkle your nose. Turn your YouTube sound off, Streaky.
can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, mate.
That's better.
Yeah, sorry, I got I got YouTube coming through my TV, and the volume on my laptop is bollocks. So I've got that knocked off. I'm overwhelmed with technology. I've had 3 cans of it's my 3rd can of Desperados lager, and I hadn't drunk for 2 months since I fucking hurt my back in an accident in work. So yeah, and I'm in a good mood, but yeah, so please excuse me for my technological failings tonight.
You must be posh, Streaky, if you've got YouTube on your telly.
Yeah. Well, what happened? I got a Fire Stick, and I had it chipped like about a year ago. Actually, do you know, I'm thinking I shouldn't be saying things like this in this current climate.
No, not really. No, I don't think so.
Yeah. You had it chipped so that it would only show legal TV licensable stuff on that that you've definitely got a TV license for. That's what you're going to say, Streaky. It's the most honest Fire Stick in the world ever.
I've got BBC iPlayer, BBC Verify. I've got BBC just drummed into my head 24/7. I'm a good citizen.
Yes. That's why you're on Gary Lineker's Christmas card list, mate.
Whoa.
Yeah, I like. Yeah. Have you seen this now? This Jermaine Genius from the BBC. That's the latest thing on the TV. He's sent some dirty text, and You know, it's just a
Yeah.
den of vipers. What about Hugh Edwards? I could, you know, Hugh Edwards. And
Yeah.
hey, listen, I don't know about you chaps, but I'm not a particular royalist, and I thought it was so sweet because when the Queen and she died, and then them other pair of fucking King Tampon and that monkey woman got married, and he was there doing the commentary, and so they can blank Hugh Edwards, the dirty pedo, or they can blank him out of most stuff. But if you have to watch the commentary for all the royal stuff, it's done by Hugh Edwards. And I thought this is sweet. I thought this was the stinking pedo bourgeoisie eating themselves. Yeah, so yeah, that's all I got to say. I'm in a really good mood. Yeah, really good mood. It's bank holiday, and like, yeah,
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course.
I got a good job just down the road and all that. And there's a lot of my townies, the Welsh people. It's like a Welsh firm. It's in the southeast of England. The job is, but there's a lot of guys who are from my place back in the valleys and stuff who I've been talking to, and Cardiff. There's loads of Welsh guys. There's loads of foreigners, obviously. It's mad. We had a fire drill the other day, right? And there was about 120 people on site. And you know about like in-group preference, so everybody flocks to their own people in the end. But when a fire drill happened, you had like about 15, 20 Albanians, 15, 20 Romanians. You had about 10 elephant riders, the Indians, the snake charmers. You had about 10 of them. And you had about 20, 30 Welsh
Snake
congregating
charmers.
together. And then you got like there's about 10 Africans, yeah. They're like the Muslims. They disappeared like today on a Friday, 1:30. They go to Friday prayers, so there's no laborers or gatemen on the site and that. But yeah, as soon as the fire drill, it was so funny to see everybody lock into their groups of 120 guys. And about English people, it was probably about 8, 10 English, like, you know, but they sort of like mix with the Welsh kind of thing. But you know, it's for a site which is so multi-ethnic, and you know it could kick off at any moment because there's been it's a quite a hard you're fucking flat out all the time and people argue and it sort of gets cooled down. But if it did kick off, it could get nasty, and there has been a couple of situations like, but yeah, it's so, but it ain't bad. I've been in worse places, and it's the money's decent, and I didn't work for ages before I started here. So yeah, and I paid for like a couple of days for where Woody's the field and all that next week, and I got a hotel in some like average hotel in a little village where it's got like a few pubs, and I'm looking forward to meeting up with some like-minded people and everything. So yeah, things are good. Sorry, I'm just going to sort of alter the volume and everything. I may have a bit of a situation going on with my laptop. So yeah, I'm gonna pack out. I'm just gonna chill out for a second and let somebody else
Okay.
speak. It's really great to be here, and all the people in the chat. It's wicked to be. Honestly, I'm buzzing tonight. And it's not just the alcohol. I've been in a good mood like nearly all day. It's been I've had a fucking hard job to do today, and it was all done sweetly. So yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna pack out for a second. John, it's wicked. I love being in the stream with you, John. Honestly, mate, you're the top fella. That's it. Now I'm
Thank
shutting
you.
up. Okay, I'm shutting up now.
By the way, said some. Could you tell me what did that guy get? That Hughes guy?
Nothing. I don't know. I don't even know if he's been charged or anything yet. I don't know.
Do you
Honest to
know?
God, because obviously, you know, the BBC want to memory hole it or ever.
Yeah, of course.
They want to memory hole it ever happening. So,
Well,
he's
there's
DJing. Oh Christ, no. I don't know. Deej, the link's further up, mate. Get your arse on. You'll see it straight away if you've
yeah,
not a
the
tech
link's there,
Luddite.
DJ. The link's there.
Oh, by the way, a quick little plug I forgot to mention, John.
Yeah.
I am I'm supposed to be on a stream tomorrow evening on Bonnie Lad's channel. I don't even know if he's published the link yet, but as far as I know, Bonnie Lad's channel tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. It'll be the three amigos, me, Bonnie Lad, and Scottish Tam, and also special guest Jack London. So hopefully people will turn up for that one. I've been streaming on a Sunday evening at 8:30 because Streaky sounds back on. Streaky, you got your telly back on, mate, or whatever. People will turn up for that one. I've been streaming on a Sunday evening.
Well, that's you. Like
it's me speaking, but it's coming through Streaky's telly.
Yeah, sorry, Sensum, you're right. You're spot on, mate. I had my telly. It's because my laptop volume is a bit fucked. Carry on, mate.
Well, you can have your telly on, mate, as long as you mute your mic.
That's a bit technical for me. Sorry, mate.
Hey, look, if I can do it, anybody can, you know.
Mute my mic. Okay.
DJ, the link's there.
Yeah, it's further up.
Oh.
I'll drop it back in again. I think I
was just going to do that.
I've got the power.
I got the power, man.
Oh no, let me.
There it is.
I'll tell you what. Let me get it from StreamYard. The word of God itself, StreamYard. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you've got it. You've got it there.
What am I?
Yeah, that's a bit difficult. I've just I'll stick my ear close to my laptop, like and then I can hear everything. But yeah, I got it on the TV, and that's cool. John, have you ever heard, John, of a guy called Robert Sepper?
No.
He does. He's what the fuck do you call it? Anthropologist.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, and he does like a lot of hidden history stuff, and yeah, it's great on the telly. He's an American, but he's cool, like, and he's great to listen to on TV. He does like a lot of stuff about British. Anyway, blah blah blah. Sorry, I just noticed Toffee coming into the chat. And like, Toffee, man. I hope Toffee's going to be there like on next week and when in Woody's Field, because it's going to be great to meet him. Like, so I'm looking forward to that if he's going to be there. Sorry, I'm not trying to take the stream over as like my own fucking personal get together. Like, so carry on.
There you go. There's the man himself.
All right, John. All right, gents. My mic good.
How you doing, Toffee?
All right, Toffee.
I'm good. Is me mic all right, lads?
Yeah, it's fine, bud.
Yeah, song, mate.
Yeah, just a quick one, gents. I'm currently working, but I just wanted to get like a quick little important news story out there. I don't know if you've seen it today. So last night, sorry to interrupt, John, if you're in the middle of a conversation. So last night, there was an incident in Church Street, which is the main thoroughfare in Liverpool city centre. There's been, I'll explain what happened because it's all on footage. A young girl filmed it. So a lad of foreign extraction has pulled a knife on a group of teenagers. It's all on video. Pulled a knife on a group of teenagers, started flashing his willy around, which seems to be a weird thing with these people. This girl, who's an adult, who's filming it, is saying, leave them alone, you've just been flashing your dick around, you little nonce. The Scouts kids are game, they don't back down. So the Scouts kids are like, put your blade down and we'll have it with you. Put your knife down. And he's giving it all this, I do this. He's flew at them with a knife, got in range, slipped over, fell over, stabbed himself with the knife as he's gone down. So these kids didn't realise, not that it matters, karma as far as I'm concerned, but he's gone down as he's tried to stab this kid. So all the little teenagers are piled in and give him a kicking. and then scattered. So the police have arrived. This girl is on the scene who's filmed the whole thing, and the busies are like, we don't know what's going on here. And the girl is like, well, I've got it here on my phone. Look, the whole thing that's happened. So the Liverpool Echo, predictably, have reported it today. Like a brutal attack in Liverpool city centre. Someone's been assaulted and there's like 7 suspects. No mention of him attacking them with the knife. It's all on video. So today, John, I've mobilised and I've sent it to people in our circles who've got like big followings, like No Chance, for example. I said, share this video about, because the Echo are going to try and blame these kids. So this is absolutely flooded X and Telegram and all social media today. And the Liverpool Echo have been forced to backtrack and release the actual story because they were getting ratioed so much. So it just shows.
Rightly so.
So it just shows if we mobilise and put the truth out there, it does work, because it's worked today. We've made the Liverpool Echo back down from their nonsense within 12 hours today.
Excellent work. Excellent work. That's what we need. It can't be done, as you say, Toffee. Can't be done.
I've actually got that video, so
yeah,
I've got it.
And I'll be honest, lads, right? Not mentioning no names, but I speak to loads of people on Telegram. I'm in touch with all kinds of groups. Everyone knows me. So I've said to loads of people, can you please share this? And a load of people didn't, because there was nothing in it for them. And it's really annoyed me. So anyone who didn't share that I sent to you, shame on you. Shame on you. Seriously. I wish I could mention names, but I won't. But I don't like to mudsling, but shame on you.
Well, they know who they are, Toffee. Put it that way. They know who they are.
I just want to interject there and say, like, I haven't checked my Telegram again since, but like, what I said to you earlier on, like, usually my fucking channel's just Scottish, sorry, exclusively. But like, if you want me to share anything, I will. So I really hope you're not including me in your.
No, don't be daft. You did share it. You shared it.
Oh, I shared it in my chat. Aye, but like,
yeah, you posted it.
Like so many times.
About, like, there's people with big reaches. Like, we know what we're talking about. There's people who claim to be the main advocacy of British people. And I sent it to a load of them. 12 of them, literally 12 of them. And one of them shared it. And they were all thumbs up and, yeah, I'll share it. But they never, because there was fuck all in it. Sorry, John, to swear. Oh, my God.
No,
Sorry, John, to swear. Because there was nothing in it. Sorry. When it's something about Liverpool, I feel very passionate. I do apologise. None of them shared it, and I'm very annoyed about it. You claim to be a British advocacy movement. Do your job and just unite.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No, you may know on it.
Yeah, sorry if I've derailed it, lads. I'll have to drop out again. I apologise if I've derailed the scene. I love you, lads. Peace out.
Toffee.
What, mate?
Toffee, quick one. I haven't mentioned anything yet. And now that DJ's here, do you want to do a stream on Sunday night? Because I don't think Scott's Armour is.
I fucking told you that last Sunday. Like, what is this? Sorry for sweating, John, but I mean, why are you acting as if this is news to you?
Whoa. Hold on a minute. Because last month, he did schedule one, but then didn't do it. That's why I was saying.
I know. So, I know. I'm just saying. Like, I remember.
With it being the bank holiday weekend, DJ. With it being the bank holiday weekend, do you want to give it a miss this weekend? That's what I was going to say.
I mean, it's not really here nor there to me, to be honest. I'm always free if I'm not on misses anyway.
Should we have a week
I just want to say one thing. I just want to say one thing. I'm not going to derail the stream any further. But I told you last Sunday on your stream twice.
Yes, I know.
Farmer is not going to be streaming, and then you've just said there, "Oh, Topping, I think Scott."
He's just asking you, you mess.
Yeah, but the thing is, right?
I told you this,
DJ. Right, in Stoke, PMT buses says OXO. Advertise OXO on the side of the bus doesn't mean you can get them there, does it?
The problem here is said.
Quick, I need stuff out.
Just don't listen to me, mate.
Quick, I'm up for Sunday. Like, if you want to do Sunday, I'm up for it. DM me on Telegram after this and set it up.
Okay. Well, DG, you in for Sunday?
Yeah, fuck it, why not?
Okay, well, we'll do something on Sunday. Then I'll drop you the link tomorrow. Now it'll be probably.
Go ahead. Nice one, lads. God bless you.
Okay. God bless Toffee.
Yeah, bitch.
Right, bye just now.
Why don't you
Yeah,
get John on a Sunday? If John's not doing nothing, why don't you get John on?
Well, John does enough on Tuesdays and Fridays. He's more than welcome to join any stream that we're on, but we do drop the C-bomb, John, and we know.
Oh, I know that. I know. I listen often enough.
It's like punctuation for us.
Well, I'll tell you,
It's funny, like
it's an exclamation mark, is it not?
John, you're like the only ever stream I've been on where I've had to like watch what I say. And I mean, I can pat myself on the back because it just goes to show that when push comes to shove, I can't be on my best behavior. But I do remember like my first or second appearance on your stream. I think it was with Scott's Armor, and like I accidentally dropped the C-bomb. I remember going, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Part of my, oh wow, but yeah, it goes to show though I can be good from time to time.
Of course you can.
Occasionally.
If the occasion requires it, you can do that without problems. I'll tell you what I can do for you. I'll come along and I'll sit in, and if I feel up to it physically, I'll ask for the link to be put in the chat. How's that? Enjoyed for the chat.
The link for
Just stream.
I'll have to email it to you, John, because I haven't actually set one up yet.
Well, I'll wait until Sunday then. Put it that way.
I'll email you as soon as I set the stream up. I just haven't done one this week because I didn't know
You were going
he's
to
going
do
to
it.
kick off again. He's going to kick off again. But last end of July, I set up a stream. It was called the Weekend Stream. It was the first one we were going to do after the election on the 28th of July. I believe it was the 28th. Let me just double check my records because I'm so well up on these things. Yes, it was definitely the 28th of July. And no sooner as I dropped that link that Scott's Armor dropped his own link for the 28th of July, because obviously, you know, a chat with the lead stream tended to happen at the end of the month, and he did schedule one. He didn't follow through with that one, obviously. So I decided that I would do one on the 4th of August, which we ended up doing. So I just thought it'd be polite to see if Scott's Armor was doing one. So you can cry all you want, DJ, saying, I told you. But I told you, and it was factually there, because you sent him a screenshot of where he double booked his stream over the top of ours.
But my point there was,
you don't have a point.
without getting over animated. I mean, I know Toffee was like, mate, all he did was invite you on a stream. My point was, you were told twice last Sunday that Scott's Armor's not streaming, and then you sit there and John stream the night and act totally oblivious to these that process of information you were given, and you act as if you've concluded this summarization yourself. Like, I don't know where you get this. I could have told you he wasn't streaming, mate. You just don't listen.
Lads, listen.
You don't listen to me. That's the problem.
Listen. I think for everyone's mental health, I think the two of you need to get a divorce.
Yes, I'm
no,
fed up with
these. I think I've actually been on more streams with you since him than I've actually been on with Scott's Armor. To be honest. I mean, I know there was like the Sunday with the lads thing that's going on for years, but
we had to fill in for
a very long time, mate.
we had to fill in for him. Do you remember the teacher in the Saxon streams? That was so we could keep his slot warm. And he never
Do you remember the very first one we did, where that Chinese S&P person was like called? I remember, and like, and then They were trying to get my channel reported, but they were showing on Twitter like all these screenshots of how racist and fascist I apparently was. And, like every screenshot was like comments in my channel video section, and all of them were like censored. The good
It
old
wasn't me.
Oh, the good old days.
Yeah, but she did a great impression of Oddjob out of Goldfinger, didn't she? So, she was a bonny lass.
Oh yeah, one word for it. One word for it. Caught accusing me of doxing there. I mean, John, you might be totally oblivious to this. This was a few years ago, but like the SNP's conference from like 2021, I think it was, or 2022 even. And one of I clipped like the entirety of the conference, like, well, the stuff that I felt was like important or whatever. And there was some LGBT advocate who happened to be like half Chinese who appeared on stage, was introduced by name, by the way, and I have to include that for context because of the accusations that were directed at me after the fact. However, so I clipped this person. And then me, Toffee, and Sensum and whatnot were on a stream, and we were laughing at some of the clips from the conference, including this person. Next thing you know, there's this massive Twitter onslaught directed at my channel, and I'm far right, and I'm doxing this person. I'm giving her sleepless nights and all this nonsense. You know, it's like, what the hell? I was like, I never doxed you. You were introduced by name to the conference, like. So, oh man, good times.
The good old days, eh?
Aye, before I became progressive.
Well, we know all about that progression. So,
Yes, I will. Yeah. So if
what
I do,
time
well,
do you? What time?
half
do
past.
these-
It's 8:30 on Sunday evening.
Right. Okay.
But I will send you, as soon as I get the StreamYard link, I will send you that. And I always send out a sort of a loose list of stories that we might be covering. The whole point of my streams are, I might not even do it as a weekend, I might do it as a radio 109 FM. The only radio station that's been booted off the air 109 times, and each time it was the other person's fault. But, you know, I don't know, I might do one of them. And the whole point of my streams is yes, we know the regime is an awful regime, and we know the system is corrupt and unfathomable at times. So what we do is we take all of these stupid stories and we dust them in a little bit of icing sugar. Let's get those black pills dusted in icing sugar, and let's take the piss out of these idiots, this idiocracy that we live in, because that's what they are. They are, you know, they are deserving of our, you know, bloody mirth towards them, because they're just not believable characters. They're dreadful. We all know that they get controlled from on high. They don't govern this country. They just do what their paymasters tell them. So, anyway, if we can have a laugh into the bargain, all the better. We do drop the C-bomb here and there. It's like punctuation. But that's what you get.
We set back nationalism by about 14 seconds from
14 seconds, yeah, I remember that, yeah. Oh, you're saying that was when we were taking the mick out of the transistors, wasn't it, DJ? And some uppity bloody self-professed do nationalism, not you, Streaky, but some other blowhard idiot who hasn't. Obviously, his funny bone had disappeared. That's why his arms were bolt straight. Hadn't got any elbows, you know. And I'm like, you know, do you know what, mate? You know, if this is what it's come to, you've got to have everything, have you? You've got to have your serious, you've got to have your mickey taking. Sometimes we're very serious, and other times we take the mick. It's getting that right balance there, and you can't just bomb people with black pills, or if you are going to bomb people constantly with black pills, at least sprinkle a bit of icing sugar on them to make them, you know, more humorous and more palatable, so everybody realises how stupid the regime is. So that's all we try to do.
I think there is something to be said there about what you're saying, like on a more serious note there, is like, just because like you make videos or you appear on streams or you host your own streams, just like So you're addressing the issues, whether you're making light of them or you're sort of speaking about it in a more serious manner. Like, regardless of that fact, like, there is always going to be people that complain, like, oh, you're not providing solutions. Why do you need to provide solutions to just speak about the issues? Like, you should be able to speak about the issues however you see fit if you want to without complaints. And I think there was a good point. There was a stream that I wasn't on, not the last Sunday, but the one before that, the one where you made that really weird comment, sense about it. Oh, this whiskey rolls off the mouth. I don't know what that was about, but regardless, where you said that like doing these streams can be like sort of cathartic, and you do make a good point there. Like, you should be able to just speak about the issues. I don't understand why there seems to be this idea that if you speak about any of the issues that are occurring in our society, you must provide solutions. Like, well, no, you should be able to
I
poke
have
fun
the
at certain
solutions.
things.
Trust me,
Pardon,
I
sir?
have the solutions. I just wish
Go
I
on.
had the opportunity to fucking enact the solutions.
Well, I don't think you're alone in that one, but
No,
I mean,
I
you
think
should be
lots
able
of
to
us-
speak about things without being sort of cajoled to provide solutions. Is kind of the point I was getting at there. Like, it can be a bit frustrating at times.
Well,
Yeah, I just was telling Linda there, my latest Asda exploit. I've got a lovely rum cask conditioned 12-year-old Jura single malt.
And it just
It's
rolls
20
off the mouth.
Well, this one doesn't. This one doesn't, DJ. If I'm being in fairness, it sort of trickles down the tongue and then gives a light burn as it goes down, because it doesn't burn the mouth, as all good whiskies don't. It has a little burn as it goes down, and it just trips off the tongue, my friend.
Just stop.
John,
Stop.
excuse me, chaps. I was wondering, did you see about Kennedy has endorsed Trump? And has anybody got any
Yes.
thoughts on this? What do you
No,
think about Kennedy endorsing Trump, and will it have any effects on the? How do you see, John? How do you see the U.S. the election going, John, in November? What do you think will happen, John?
well, if the American people are lucky, the abuse of the electoral system won't be too noticeable, because it'll be Donald. The whole thing will be screwed over. And Kennedy, I think he has become a huge disappointment. He started off well, but somewhere along the line, something happened. I don't know what, but something happened. And he's just a waste of time now. I'm afraid.
Yeah. The
I'm
only
afraid
thing positive I've seen about Kennedy is his views on the climate change. He's well up the arse of Israel, like they all are. I mean, 80% of Biden's government is Israeli.
Yeah.
And also Kennedy. Sorry, the only thing he's ever been good on was the COVID. That's the only thing, and Big Pharma, which has impressed me by him. But they reckon having him endorsing Trump could swing it for Trump. I think Trump is ahead anyway. Obviously, the media, they own everything, and they're promoting Kamala Harris, that fucking airhead, But yeah, it'll have such a massive knock-on effect on this country, because this is serious shit. What could happen if Trump does not get in, and we get dragged with this Ukrainian war and Israel? There could be this is really fucking serious. To be, what's going to be going ahead. Nationalism will be a moot subject in months' time after the American election. Things could get really, really serious, But
Streaky, can I ask? Oh, because you know,
go on.
Streak,
sorry,
can I ask you a very quick question, mate? Do you think that Kamala Harris will attract the votes from the dead people like what Joe Biden did in the 2020 election?
This will for sure. This will definitely be going on by any means necessary. and the Dems will be, or the state, which is what the Dems are, will be rigging this. You know, they'll be rigging it like they did in the 2020, mate. It's really interesting times, but with the Israel shit and everything, it's just like a competition between the Dems and the Republicans who can love Israel the most. If there's a blatant example of a country that's absolutely been taken over by a certain kind of Jewry, America is it. They both stand there giving their speeches with American and Israeli flags. Trump is on there, and they're all dying to say how they can help Israel. It's just so fucked up. It's like we live in now. It's just a fucking charade about how things should be, and this is really worrying for the future. But but I'm not worried anyway because I'm cool tonight. I got a few cans. I'm smoking some purple runts, and everything's good in my life. So I'm chilled out and I'm in good company. So everything's cool with me. I'll pass the subject on just to hear anybody's thoughts on a possible nuclear war, Israel, blah blah blah.
Well, if we had any common sense at all, we'd all be packing our bags and heading for Russia.
Yes, John. Yes, John. See, Putin, what an absolute fucking statesman he is. I've watched Putin's speeches for years and years, and what he was saying about what's coming into the West, and he said basically his country had gone through this and the Bolshevism, and he said his country managed to kick it out, and he said it's come back into the West. And I think this speech was about 15 years ago. And he predicted everything. And he said that the governments will turn on its people. The immigration, he said, will go through his fucking... I love listening to Putin. Absolutely sweet. And this week, it was translated in Russian what he said. He said all the people in the West, basically, he's going to do a list of countries who are fucking pissed off under neoliberalism. And he wants to bring people with traditional Christian values, and he will give them land in Siberia. And I think it's going to start fairly soon. I don't know when the list of countries is going, but if I was younger, right, I'm not. I'm near the fucking graves end, than what I could be young and productive and bring kids up. Like all my time has passed. But if I was young, I would really, really think about going there. I think, and obviously this fucking speech never got shown on BBC or ITV or anything like that. But you look at Putin, what he said. What an absolute fucking class guy he is.
Absolutely.
And I know it's easy to be cynical to say it's all theatre and Russia are this and we're all being played. It's very easy to say we're all theatre. I don't know. Maybe I'm naive, but I honestly do think there is some good in the world, and I think it's coming from Russia. But it's interesting to see, like 40 years ago, under communism, you had people fleeing Russia to get to the West, and now the roles are fucking reversed. So this is man, we live in some interesting times, and I just like to hear people's views on this. Whatever you think.
Well, Russia was set aside by Christianity to save the world, and I firmly believe that. It's why they're so desperate to pull them down, because between them and China, although they are nothing similar, they stand between us and oblivion if the globalists get their way. And that's who stands between us and the globalists, is Russia and China. And possibly not too far in front will come India, when they become stronger. But it is definitely Russia that has saved us so far from the globalists. And like yourself, if I were a younger man, a much younger man, I'd be seriously thinking about moving there. Although the idea of their cold weather doesn't appeal. I don't think it's bluff or propaganda. I think it's genuine.
Yeah, and me.
Because if you think about it, what could easily have happened was the Russian army could easily have swamped Ukraine, easily,
Yes, yes.
without any bother. But because he was trying to not kill as many people as he might have, and he didn't want to destroy the place, he took this not softly, but slow approach to the war. And that wasn't necessary. He could have flattened the place in a month. It could have been all over easily. But he has an eye to the future as well as an eye to history. He knows where he is, and he knows where Russia is. Who's messing about? They stopped.
John, what would you say, John? Our chances, to me, okay, I'm in my 50s, yeah, but I don't think the world has ever been as close now, genuinely now to a nuclear war, because I know after the pandemic, I knew that was fucking bullshit from the start. And I was watching some streams, and they said, like, first will come the pandemic, then it's going to be global, it's going to be finance, which sort of goes hand in hand with the pandemic anyway, with all the borrowing and the transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich. And then they said there'd be war, and everything. And I can't remember this professor, and he said that then there'll be war, which is going on, like, and it was very interesting to see how these predictions are panning out. I mean, like Putin, he cured COVID basically, didn't he? Once Ukraine kicked in, that was forgot about. It's so yeah, but it's we live in interesting times, like, and yeah. What do you think the chances? For me, I think we are at the nearest time to a nuclear exchange. I mean, the Israelis are fucking
Well, they're out of control. They are sort of, in a way, doing us all a favour. They are. But this is the way I look at it, and I would ask all of you to look at it in the way that I look at it, if you don't already. And it's this: they will never, ever be able to play the card of I'm a victim.
Nah, no way.
Those days are gone.
Long gone. Long gone. Fucking Zionism is dying.
Yeah, what they have done now to these people, and I'm not taking any sides on this, but what they have done, they have shown themselves to be the cruel, vindictive people that they really are, and have been hiding under this cloak of victimhood for the last 2 centuries. But now the whole world could see what they are, how
Yes.
they are
Yes.
prepared without blinking an eye, shoot children by the hundreds, by the thousands. And that'll never be forgotten, nor will it ever be forgiven. And that has done the rest of the world a favour. It's a terrible price, I know. It shouldn't have been paid that price, but it has. So in that sense, they have done the world a favour, because now they can't pretend or what they have been doing.
Yeah,
And
spot on, John. Spot on. Yeah, you're spot on, mate. I hope
we should never allow them to forget it. Nor should we ever forgiven. How can you forgive such a hideous crime as killing little children and babies?
Yeah. I listen. I'm no fan of like Palestinians and etc. But what's happening is fucking horrendous. It is absolutely horrendous. And they have control of the media, 90-odd%, the money, and still people can see what they're doing is horrendous. This is fucking awful what's happening. You know, 100 people died. 100 fucking people died the other day. And they said, because like, there was terrorists who was in the building and it was brushed over. And yet an attack on the Golan Heights, which they fucking nicked off Syria anyway. And they said 12 kids got killed. So this is our excuse to go and stick another fucking few bombs. And these 12 kids, they were Syrian kids. They weren't even Jewish kids, but they got control of all the fucking media. So it's just sickening. And this is beyond. No other country in the world could get away with this. No other country would ever get away with this. It's because they run everything, and they got America, their big brother, and they bought out their big brother, and it's sick. I mean, did you see their foreign? They actually sacked their foreign minister for saying the United Nations should be bombed. but I agree with him, but for different reasons. But yeah. So it's
the point is, I don't care how much money they've got, I don't care how much media they control, people will never forget this. It is burned into people's minds and memories, and it goes beyond their newspapers, their magazines, their movies, all this stuff. And they can't buy everybody in the world. So it will never leave them. It will follow them the way they have used what happened in the Second World War to follow Germans. Now they have a shadow that will follow them until the end of time.
Yes, John, yeah.
That's my thoughts on it.
DJ, Sensum, any thoughts, boys?
All I would say is that if there's any form of positive that's coming out of this, is the fact that the perfectly useless youth, so sort of your Gen Zs, they are probably for all the wrong reasons being very vocal against what's going on in the Middle East, and not in favour of the world's favourite country, shall we say. And this has people likes of Jonathan Greenblatt in complete and utter apoplexy, Jonathan Greenblatt of the ADL, who was recorded in a telephone conversation saying, no, we need to stop thinking about it in terms of left and right now. It's old versus young. The young guys are against us. We need to turn this around. So if it's got Jonathan Greenblatt in a state of apoplexy, then, like I say, whatever the young are doing or whatever the propaganda's not working on the young. So, like I say, they may grow up to be the most useless generation of all time, but at least they won't be all on board with the people who control everything, shall we say?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, guys, I think it's time this old guy here was heading for his Betty Bops. As good as it's been having you all on, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I think I need to bring the stream to an end, folks.
John, before
Yeah.
you bring the stream to an end, can
Yeah.
I say to Linda Hunter in the chat? Can I just
Yeah.
say to her, if she can fly over next week, I got a hotel near Woody's Field. It's a single bed, but she's very welcome. I've took a real shine to Linda over the last few years, and I want to just declare I got an hotel for us by Woody's Field. All right, Linda, if she can fly over from Australia.
Oh my god. Oh boy.
Right, so from here on in, I think what will happen is Tuesday will be the normal stream, Friday will be the dating app, where we can match all the nationalists together. How about that, folks?
Oh Jesus.
Don't forget, you're only a Elon Musk satellite away.
Oh man, that was funny.
Very
That's
good.
made my night.
I'm just
Super.
spreading the love amongst nationalists. Spreading the love, boys.
Right, we may not be gaining power, but we're gaining love. How about
Jesus.
I'll catch you all later, lads. See you later. Ta-ra, boys.
Cheers, Streaky. God bless.
that? Yeah,
Oh,
take care, my friend. Oh boy.
I just want to say a wee thank you to your man in the chat there, Ultra Nationalist. He says that he likes my channel. Thank you. You know, for once I get a compliment instead of ridicule like I have to endure from Sensible. So that's nice. Thank you.
It's probably a Fed, mate. Probably a Fed.
Just shut up, Sensible, okay?
Well,
Let
either
John
that or a
Let John
Jacobite.
do his thing. Show a bit of decorum, mate, all right?
It's either that or a Jacobite, but both are
Oh,
as
here
useless as each other.
you can't do that on John's screen, mate. You can't. No, he's on my side, mate. Right? Just pipe down, bro.
Okay. Okay then, DJ. Say hello to your good lady when you see her next.
I will do, but thanks for having me on, even though it was brief. But what I will say before you go, like I wrote in the chat earlier on, you made reference to like you don't really like pubs, but even if you wanted to go to a pub, you've got no one to go with. I don't know if you see my comment at the time, but I did say like next time I'm down your way, if you wanted, me and my missus could quite easily go with you to a pub. Like it's not an issue for us. Like if you wanted to, you know, for a cheeky dram, bro.
That's just a general reference to the fact that what has happened to me happens to everyone who gets this old, DJ. And that is all my friends are deceased.
Yeah. No, I know.
And my mother was the same. Her pals died as well, and she was left isolated. And it happens. It's part of being old. It's that simple. It's aggravated, I feel, in this town because there's never been anything in this town for people who don't look for alcohol all the time or football all the time, because that's about all there is in this town. You know? I went to the pub regularly when my big mate Jerry was alive. We would go there regularly. When Laura was alive, we would go as well. Out, three of us or four of us had a nice evening. It's not that at all. It's just these people have gone, and one of the hardest things to do when you are this age is to make friends. We talked about this before, and I'm not going to start talking about it seriously too late in the evening, but it's part and parcel of what we spoke about, and that is loneliness. This is part of why people are lonely, because they find it difficult to make friends for one reason or another. They're not all old, obviously. And somehow I feel that it's our responsibility as nationalists to try and find answers to this. Now, I'm not saying that we can find them, but I think we should at least make an effort to find something that might work for some folk to alleviate this terrible, terrible problem that is throughout the country. Because I know it's not just me, and I know it's not just this town. It's throughout the UK and everywhere else. So that's me being serious about it. But that'd be nice. It depends on the weather, DJ. Yeah. Because you're a smoker, aren't you?
Yeah. But I'll tell you this, it becomes a problem. Like when I'm in a pub or whatever, it's like every couple of sips I need another cigarette. It's so annoying.
Yeah, but the point is, when you go to a pub, you know, I was thinking about the one that's not far away, the one that we used to go to. They've got a so-called garden out the back where you can sit and smoke. But it's open air. It's open air, DJ. I mean, Christ, you need to have decent weather. I went to sit. I didn't sit outside there when the weather was bad because there's no shelter. Sod that. Yeah. You're paying the same price for a pint of beer as everybody else, and yet you're outside. Are you daft?
It's enough to make you stop smoking, isn't it?
No, it's enough to make you stop drinking.
Oh, I think that's too imprinted in the Scottish gene pool for that. We'll talk about it at a later date.
Of course we will.
Absolutely, the offer's open if
of
you want.
course.
But
Of course.
I'll let you finish up there, bud.
Okay, no, you take care, my friend. You like say a few words of farewell?
Well, to be honest, I mean, put me on the spot there. No, just it's good to a wee catch up. Like, it's very rare these days that I'm actually free at the weekend. Usually I'm with my missus, but I've got one of those rare weekends to myself, and I'm a bit bored, to be honest. So I don't really know what I'm going to do with myself for the rest of the weekend. But nice to catch up. Like, and aye, as Sensim's confirmed now. He's got a stream planned for Sundays, so catch is there. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, I'll take you out then. Sensum, any last words?
Yeah, thank you for having us on, John. It was a little bit of impromptu, but I've really enjoyed it, so thank you. And I do apologise once again for missing out on last week's movie stream. And for the guys in the chat, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock over on Bonnie Lad's channel, it'll be the Three Amigos plus Jack London. So that hopefully will be a good stream. And then, as we've just confirmed, 8:30 on my channel, we'll do a Radio 109 FM stream. There you go. What's the difference intro video. That's about it, really. And so hopefully I'll see everybody then, and I'll throw you the links and everything, John, as well.
Okay, my friend. Right, let's do that. Okay, friends, as I always like to say, adios, au revoir, cheerio, and until Tuesday evening, bye for now, take care of yourself, enjoy the rest of the weekend, and thank you, all of you, for being here. I'll speak to you all soon. Enjoy the music.
Silently the snow falls, paints a winter scene, swiftly spreads the dark rim, hides a fading autumn green. Moonbeams brush the dark wood, conjure friendships dear to me. Lightly now the breeze flows, disturbing more than just the leaves. But life's much more than we can know. We are one small glow in the eternal flow. Patiently the love grows, lifts the weary heart. Gently now she holds me, melts two worlds once apart. Moonbeams brush the dark wood, usher dreams of you and me. Softly then the breeze blows, disturbing more than just the trees.
All together now.
But love's much more,
So much more
than we can know.
than we can ever know.
We are one small glow in the eternal flow. Melodies of long ago, songs of innocence, harmonies to soothe the soul, has some consequence. Moonbeams brush the dark wood, awakening joys of you and me. Silently the snow falls, bringing winter symphony.
All together now.
But we're much more,
So much more
than we can know.
than we can ever possibly know.
We are one small glow
But an important glow.
in the eternal flow. But life's much more,
So much more
than we can know. We are one small glow
but an important
in
one.
the eternal flow.
Okay, folks, you take care. And thanks again for being here. And I'll speak to you all come Tuesday. Unless you hear me over at Senson's. Take care. Hiya.
Hello, mate. Won't keep you because I realise it's late, but thank you very much for inviting us on.
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I'll echo that. I'm going to have to go back and record that tiny wee exchange there from Streaky Bacon. Oh, it made my day.
It was a joke for him tonight.
We'll play it Sunday because he says he's going to be modding Sunday. We'll play it on Sunday.
Well,
you grab
record
it,
it.
stick it in the chat, and I'll save it for Sunday.
Deal. Oh my god,
Excellent.
that was funny.
He was a top for him.
He always is, to be fair. He's quite the character. Like
He is indeed. He is indeed.
but that was, I think that's probably one of those moments though, where he's going to wake up in the morning and go, "Oh my god,
What did I say?"
all in there." But, but yeah, I'm gonna go and record that after I come out of here. Like that's
right, and I'll let you go, John.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I haven't
bag it up
set this. I haven't set the stream up yet, but as soon as I do,
Yeah, of course.
I will send you the link on the Outlook email,
Okay.
on your Cartomancer email, and
Sure.
I'll also tag in the ramshackle bunch of stories I usually capture through the week, and 9 times out of 10 we do about 3 or 4. Depends on how far we get through, but I always give everybody plenty of opportunity, and it's not all black pills. There are some funny ones in there as well. But anyway, guys, God bless, and hopefully speak to you both on Sunday.
Right.
yeah.
Thanks.
I'll see
Thanks
you
both
later.
of you.
Take
for coming
care.
on.
Take
Bye
care,
now.
John Bud.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Bye just now. Ay, ay, ay. Oh.